Looks like late night has finally moved on from Donald Trump. The new villain, Ted Cruz, and a lot of the late night shows were off last week. What was that all about, by the way? Come on, guys. You guys worked like 3 weeks in January and took a week off, but I digress. Ted Cruz jokes. We'll start with Seth Meyers. Ted Cruz is the husband who sits on the couch watching football all day, then sees his wife unloading a car full of groceries, waits until there's one bag left in the trunk, then goes outside and says, "Oh, can I help?" Am I Ted Cruz? Jimmy Kimmel said, so now Ted Cruz is doing damage control after his Estupido trip to Mexico. He lent a helping hoof to those in need this weekend and, of course, posted about it. Seth, once Ted Cruz was shamed into coming back, he tried to pretend he was actually interested in helping out. On Saturday, he posted pictures of himself handing out bottled water with a hashtag Texas Strong. Sure, dude, we totally believe you. Jimmy Fallon, Ted Cruz is the friend who offers to help you move, but every time you see him, he's just carrying the same box of pillows. Am I Ted Cruz? Jimmy Fallon, people are also upset that Cruz tweeted these pictures himself. Even white people who only posted black squares on Instagram were like, you gotta do more than that. Fallon, Cruz tried to be helpful in other ways. Later, he showed Texans how to make frozen margs with the snow in their living rooms. Fallon, seriously, you know Ted Cruz is having a rough 2021 when fueling a riot at the Capitol is nowhere near his biggest problem. That's awesome. Jimmy Fallon writers continue to crush it. Fallon, things are so bad for Cruz. This is take two. This joke is so funny. I can't get through it without cracking up. Let me fight through it this time. Fallon, things are so bad for Cruz. He spent today thinking about the good old days when people just thought he was the Zodiac killer. Kimmel, like many of Ted Cruz's attempts to mimic human behavior, this one was Ted on arrival. That was lame, Jimmy. Jimmy Kimmel again. Only Ted Cruz would think he can repair his image by touching a maskless constituent 2 days after getting off an international flight. Pretty good. Fallon, also we're in a pandemic. Shaking hands, handing out water, serving food. Right now, a Carnival cruise is safer than a Ted Cruz. Jimmy Fallon, yeah, it seemed like an okay gesture until everyone noticed the label on the bottle that said Ritz-Carlton Cancun. A little souvenir. Fallon, yeah, the photo op didn't work out too well. Most people just drove away when he tried showing them his vacation photos. And Fallon, actually, Ted Cruz wanted to do more, but he had a parasailing lesson at 3 o'clock. Conan opened his show with a fake commercial suggesting that Ted Cruz was a fool for doing air travel when he could have used the Cancun shuttle. Using El Chapo's abandoned warren of underground drug routes, the ad promises wary and shameless U.S. escapees from personal and professional responsibility that the 1,200-mile-per-hour tramway will spirit you and your soon-to-be-sacrificed loved ones right to the check-in desk of the Cancun Ritz-Carlton. It's even designed by Elon Musk. The Late Show opened with its even more remote alternative for traitorous lawmakers avoiding work, as the staff there put its editing bay to feverish work constructing a transmission from Ted Cruz taking the place of the newly landed Mars Perseverance rover. NASA was surprised to find that Ted Cruz stowed away on their rocket and reminded him that Mars is actually pretty cold, even compared to the unprecedented winter storm battering Texas to a standstill. Yet these brave men and women of the actual Space Force rebounded into uproarious relief when Mission Control finally announced Ted Cruz has left the Earth. AV Club, thank you for those recaps there. Hey, let's talk Dave Chappelle. Behind the scenes of the podcast, putting Dave Chappelle in the episode title, always a good thing. And hey, I'm an SEO whore, so if I could put hashtag Yang Gang, I will. From Vanity Fair, your home for comedy news, Andrew Yang is running for New York City mayor. And he has this idea which allows me to get both Dave Chappelle and hashtag Yang Gang in the episode title, SEO Bonanza, baby. Andrew Yang says, when we're actually able to get together in large numbers to mark the end of this time, like we should do in true New York fashion, get entertainers and artists and cultural figures and everyday New Yorkers and community leaders and people that represent the city, but also people you'd just be excited to see perform. Andrew Yang, hashtag Yang Gang, said, I mean, I certainly have my own tastes and ideas, but the one thing I'll say as mayor is like, I'm not going to impose my tastes on everyone, but if they said, Mayor Yang, who do you want to see headline at this big party? Well, one person that comes to mind for me is Dave Chappelle. Can you imagine Donnie Zoldan? You know, Donnie, that's the stand-up New York guy that's always fighting with Jerry Seinfeld and Andrew Cuomo. Imagine Donnie sitting home, finding out Mayor Yang is letting Dave Chappelle throw a big party. Donnie will lose his mind. Dave Chappelle, I feel like he's marked our recent elections in a particular way. He has very, very strong ties to New York City. His wife is from New York. He obviously spent years here. He and I are friends, so he's the first name that comes to mind, like post-COVID. I think New Yorkers would be thrilled to see Dave. I feel like a lot of New Yorkers regard him as one of us, a New Yorker. So that's one person I can very easily see on a big stage. I want to live stream this concert to the world. So this would be like Dave Chappelle, like Central Park. That'd be amazing. Hashtag gang gang. I want to make it so that everybody sees New York is back, baby. He didn't say baby. I just like saying back, baby. It's going to be so much fun. So having a vision for something like that, I think is something that New Yorkers can look up and say, this winter will pass. This winter's not going to pass. I have shoveled I digress. This time will pass. There'll be a time when we can all get together in large numbers and celebrate the end of the pandemic. I'm loose today, huh? Take a break. Come right back. Did you vote yet for Comedy's Top Dog? This week's matchup. Defending champion John Mulaney, he's taking on Adam Sandler. You guys tell me you like Adam Sandler. People are watching those movies on Netflix. Where are the Sandler votes? Oh, here's one. Jerry McLean has voted. Jerry says, it's Sandler for me. Can't wait for you being nice. That's right. If Adam Sandler wins, I'm going to have to say nice things about Adam Sandler if he's the defending champion next week. None of us want that. You should go vote for John Mulaney. What do? You go to the Instagram page at Daily Comedy News. You'll find a picture that says Top Dog, and it's got a picture of defending champion John Mulaney and Adam Sandler. And in the comments, you tell me who you want to vote for. Instagram at Daily Comedy News. Amy Poehler spoke to the New York Times. And they were like, hey, Amy Poehler, who's not Amy Schumer. Hey, Amy Poehler, what's most interesting to you about the idea of doing a remote Golden Globes? Amy Poehler, not Schumer, said, it's full on weird, and we're hoping that the weirdness, which people are unfortunately used to at this point, will translate into something fun and interesting. It's hopefully something you would watch for entertainment. Look how bad I am at promoting this. Times, have you noticed any change in people's attitude toward award shows since you and Tina last hosted the Globes? Amy Poehler, not Schumer, said, I feel that people used to take for granted that Golden Globe nominations and awards were faintly ridiculous and not actually a meaningful arbiter of quality. Now people get angry about snubs. Is that giving Globes too much power? Both of these ideas can exist at the same time. When I was growing up and watching award shows, the people there were decidedly drunk. There was this looseness, partly because nobody remembers who wins. However, not being included in the conversation over and over again get frustrating. Award shows allow people at some point to say, yeah, but here's a substantial list whether or not you believe the award shows mean anything, that they were left off of it. Times. The reunion aspect aside, do you think Parks and Recreation registered differently with viewers in 2020 than it did in, say, 2015? I think the reunion offered a comfortable feeling that a lot of people needed. A lot of people turn to comedy during times of stress. I do the opposite. I watch the Night Stalker documentary. Also from the New York Times, we're going to talk Simpsons voices 2 days in a row. Yesterday we talked about Mrs. Krabappel. When she married Ned Flanders, did she change her name? Was she like Krabappel Flanders? I got to look that up. The Times tells us after over 30 years of voicing a black character on The Simpsons, white voice actor Harry Shearer is stepping away from the role. According to a representative at Fox, Harry Shearer's portrayal of the black character Dr. Hibbert during this week's season 32, episode Diary Queen marked the final time Harry Shearer will voice the character. Starting with the February 28th episode, Wad Goals, Kevin Michael Richardson will take over the role. Shearer had played Hibbert since the show's second season in 1990, up until season 32. Prior to this week's episode, he had last voiced the role in the episode Podcast News, which aired in November 2020. Shearer declined to comment on the recasting through a representative for the show. A couple quick hits here from Backstage. Untitled Sam J Show, which is described as a new half-hour late-night comedy series for HBO hosted by Sam J. Sam's special was awesome last year if you didn't watch that. They're looking for talent aged 21 to 75. That talent, aged 21 to 75, is wanted for a variety of roles, including focus group participants, fashion show models, and more. Let's not gloss over that. A variety of roles, including focus group participants, which could be me, and fashion show models, which could not be me, and more, which could be me. Filming will take place on March 15 or 16 in New York City, where Andrew Yang hopes to become mayor. Hashtag Yang Gang. We're all going to Central Park to see the Dave Chappelle concert. It's going to be awesome. Pay is to scale plus 10%. And it says here, apply here. But this is a podcast. What would you do? You'll have to go to backstage.com and look this up for yourself because I don't have a way to have you. What are you going to do? Click your speakers? From the Daily Beast, Blair Erskine, she's the comedian that last week did the thing where she pretended to be Ted Cruz's press secretary. That was pretty funny. The reason I'm bringing this up is they did a quick profile of her, but I like the shade here in this first sentence. Let me just read it to you and then I'll comment. The sentence as written says, like another previously unknown comedian who broke through online by mocking MAGA world over this past year, Erskine, who was working what she describes as a clickbaity short of chum-like box website as recently as last summer, is well aware, blah, 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 blah. So let's go back. Like another previously unknown comedian who broke through online. They did not say that previous unknown comedian's name, and I'm not going to either. I clicked on it. The previously unknown comedian is someone who got famous for pantomiming to Donald Trump videos on TikTok. You might be familiar with that comedian. I just thought it was fascinating that the Daily Beast did not say previously unknown comedian's name. What's that about? Interesting. If you like Superstore and you speak Spanish, I have awesome news for you from Variety. NBC Universal Formats has partnered with Mexican production outfit Dopamine, that's an interesting name, to co-produce the first international version of the hit workplace comedy, a Spanish-language remake of the America Ferrera-fronted show, which follows a group of employees at a fictional big box store called Cloud9, St. Louis, Missouri, is fitting given how the NBC show has navigated themes of immigration across its 6 seasons. A writer's room is already opened. As Suit says, Superstore is a bold workplace comedy with a beating heart, known for its courage to tackle important societal issues, blah, blah, blah. And from the Moscow Times, I'm going to reuse the You're Home for Comedy news joke that I think I used earlier in this podcast, but I can't remember. Let's talk about Mum Z. That's South African comedian Mamelo Mokoena. I hope I got your name there right, because you are better known by your stage name, Mum Z. Well, Mum Z went to Russia to be with his girlfriend. A year later, he still finds himself in a pandemic-forced affair with the country. Good writing there, Moscow Times. He told the Moscow Times, when I got here, I didn't know what to expect. As his plane was landing, he recalled all the stereotypes he knew about Russia, the military, the gangsters, Russian roulette, and he thought he might be greeted by a Soviet-era military anthem at the airport. That'd be amazing. Mumsy says, then there were people asking for photos with me. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm famous. They know my comedy. I've got an audience here, until I realized that they just wanted to take a photo with a black guy. Mumsy, 35 years old, has been in South African comedy for over a decade. He is the winner of many entertainment industry awards, says the Moscow Times, your home for comedy news. He came to the national spotlight on South Africa's Got Talent. Still in Russia, he had to start from ground zero. My first performance in Russia did not go very well. I tried to do a lot of fish out of water material, but it did not land because it wasn't authentic yet. I hadn't been here. I hadn't really experienced the culture properly. In the year that I've been here, I was bounced out of 12 clubs, all of which were playing hip-hop music. Those clubs were too racist to let me in, but they weren't too racist to play black music. That's your comedy news for today. Now we're up to probably your favorite part of the show. I know some people listen for the comedy news part of it, but I know you stay for this part because you want to know what kind of coffee I got. Well, I went to the donuts chain and I'm like, oh, I like this red velvet I've been getting the last 2 days. It's over. That was a Valentine's Day thing. So I had to go back to caramel. I can't even shake my cup because I finished it already. I have my breakfast shake here, but I don't think you can hear. I'll tap the mic with it. Can you hear the tap? That's my breakfast shake. If you like what I do here, you can support the show. And wait, there's more than me just hawking coffee today. I've got a special thing for members. If you like what I do here, go to buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. Support the show, become one of those $5 members. That will open up for you access to the bonus content. I have released the very first buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews bonus episode for members only. This is the episode I mentioned last week. It is about when sitcoms become cartoons. So if you want to hear me ramble on about the Brady kids living in a treehouse with some pandas that speak Chinese gibberish, you could do that. If you want to hear about Laverne and Shirley in the army reporting to a pig who's their sergeant, you can do that. You want to hear about the Dukes of Hazzard cartoon where they race around the world, but it's not even Bo and Luke. It's Coy and Vance, the cousins. I don't remember that. I remember the cartoon, but I didn't realize it was Coy and Vance. You can do that. Partridge Family in Space. It's all part of this bonus episode. Buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. Don't forget to vote Adam Sandler or John Mulaney. Clearly, you're going to vote for John Mulaney. Go to the Instagram page at Daily Comedy News. And you can follow the show on Spotify as I record. And I just checked. I'm at 999 followers. Right now, hit follow, and you'll be number 1,000. And you and I will both know that you were the 1,000th follower. Or follow the show on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your shows. I was loose today. I had a good time. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.